Every video game has a weird or creepy character like the merchant from Resident Evil 4 or maybe even Mimi from Super Paper Mario. But one game that I know has the biggest library of weirdos is The Legend of Zelda. I mean, there are so many that I was able to make a top 10 on it. And that's why we're here today, to count down the top 10 weirdest / creepiest Zelda characters. And that's it. Let's start with number 10, shall we? This may be a weird way to start this list since this character doesn't really do much. He's really only here because of his name, and that is Error. What is there to say about Error? The only thing seriously weird about him is his name, and all he says is, I am Error, and acts like that's a totally normal name and just continues to live his life. I mean, good for him. I can respect that. One thing that can make a person weird is a constant change in behavior, and the character that fits that perfectly is Guru. In Majora's Mask, you can find him sitting by himself, and when you talk to him, he starts to talk about how he plays outside because people told him he was too loud. Then he starts to talk about the time he was in a group with dogs and donkeys, but then soon starts to flip out when he starts talking about how the dog was the leader of the group, and then goes back to normal to say that he liked the dog and that it was a good leader. What? A soul that refuses to leave because he has some unfinished business to do. What business is that? To teach someone his special dance. Komaru just dances on this big rock and just waits for someone to finally pass on his majestic dance to the public. And by the public, I mean these two random girls. Komaru is a weird little fellow that just dances and dances. Someone should tell him about the Just Dance series. Salvatore is a weird man. He's the type of person you can tell really hates his job, but still has to put up with it because it's the only way he can support his wife and little Timmy. Poor little Timmy. But there are times where you can tell that he's enjoying his job a little too much, and you can tell he needs to calm down. But can you blame him? He needs to feed little Timmy. If you don't know already, I hate bugs, so a character all around collecting bugs is creepy and weird in my book. What weirds me out is her big obsession with these bugs, and the fact that she has you collect these bugs for her, and when you bring her any, she calls herself Princess Agatha. She is so popular that she was added to Hyrule Warriors. I don't see the appeal, but apparently there are fans of her. If you have seen my top 5 favorite Zelda characters video, then you know that I like Maggie from the Wind Waker. But even I have to admit that she is a bit weird. It's all really because she falls in love with a moblin. In the Wind Waker, at the start of the game, your sister is taken away by the Helmrock King. But she wasn't the only one taken. Maggie was also taken away. But I guess she didn't mind after a while because she did have Mo the Moblin to keep her company. Huh, it makes you wonder, what would have happened between the two of them if we haven't had shown up? Alright, I'll admit it, Aku is only on this list because they just look weird. I mean, I don't mean to judge them like that, but what the hell are they? They're like a weird chicken-human hybrid. Like they were all normal people and were cursed to walk the land of Hyrule that way. Again, the Aku species is only on here because they just look weird, but come on, look at them. Can you blame me? Tingled may be the first character that falls under both weird and creepy. How is he weird? Well, he is a grown man that dresses up like a forest fairy thinking that dressing up like one will make him one. In Majora's Mask, he sells you maps that he drew himself while he floats around on his balloon. And in Majora's Mask, that's all he does, float around and draw maps to sell you. In The Wind Waker, he's an actual criminal. The first time you meet him is when you have to break him out of prison. Also, he has his own island where he treats his brothers like his slaves. And how is he creepy? Well, have you seen any of the Hyrule Warriors footage? It still gives me nightmares. This is a character that I will not spend too much time on since I talked about him in my top 5 favorite Zelda characters video, but the gist of the Happy Mask Salesman is this. Just like Guru Guru, he changes his expression and mood at the drop of a pin. One minute he seems fine, and then the next he is strangling you to death. And where the hell did that organ come from? Now you may be wondering why Tingled was only number 3 and the Happy Mask Salesman was only number 2. But once I show you number 1, you will get it. Number 1 is ... How does one react to this? Like, what do you say? It's a hand sticking out of the toilet asking for paper. No, seriously, what am I looking at? What's weirder is when you give him paper, he rewards you with a piece of heart. Well, I don't know if I want to touch that anymore.